So good morning and welcome to our today's class. So the topic of today is called linear programming. Linear programming method. Linear programming method is the topic that we are discussing today. And to begin, we will say that this is an optimization technique. So linear programming is an optimization technique. By optimization, we mean it is a technique that is used to help us know how well we can use the scarce resources. A resource is called scarce. A resource is called scarce if it has what we call limited supply and what we call unlimited demand. That is what we refer to as a scarce resource. And we would want to use this resource in a way that will generate maximum benefits. In a way that will generate maximum benefits or maximum profits. So linear programming is an optimization technique that helps us to know how well we can use the scarce resources and be able to get the maximum benefits out of that. So this is a technique that is widely used in many areas, such as making of product mix decisions. We use it to solve game theory problems, although nowadays game theory is not longer part of the quantitative analysis syllabus for CAFNEP. We also use it in project appraisal. We use it in network analysis. That is also a topic that is no longer there. Transport is also no longer there. Transport and allocation of duties. So those are some of the areas where we have the usage of linear programming. Now, when we are talking about linear programming, there are some assumptions that must be made. There are some assumptions that we make for us to be able to solve what it is that we need to solve using linear programming. And the first assumption is called non-negativity. Non-negativity. Now, non-negativity, it means that all the values that we are going to use, they will all be positive. They will be 0 or greater than 0. So we will not have any negative value. Number 2 is called linearity. Linearity. Now, linearity implies that the values change in a direct proportion. For example, if 1 unit is using 3 kilos, if 1 unit is using 3 kilos, then it means that 10 units will use 30 kilograms. That's called linearity. Some people prefer to call it proportionality. They change in a direct proportion. And this is the assumption that when we start to draw, will be giving us straight lines. It is the one that will make us to have straight lines. Number 3, there is what we call certainty. Now, certainty means we are very sure of the values. Every item that we are dealing with has a single value expectation. As in, if we are told that in the store, we have 65 kilos of materials, when we shall go to the stores, we shall exactly find 65. Not anything more, not anything less than the 65. That is what we call certainty concept. The other thing is what we are calling finiteness. Now, finiteness means that we are able to count. We can be able to count how many items we have. Again, like what I've said here, if we are told we have 65 kilos, we can be able to go to the store and confirm that for sure these are the kilos that are there. Or if we are told that our workers are 10, then we can be able to go to the human resource or to where they are found and confirm that for sure we have 10 workers. It is something you can count. The other one is called additivity. Additivity means the proportion that is used by product 1, it can be combined with the one that is used by product 2. For example, if product A used 10 kilos and product B used 16 kilos and product C used 14 kilos, it means we can be able to add this to get 26 and to be able to get a total of 40. That's the meaning of additivity. We can be able to add the values. The other one is what we call divisibility or continuity. And divisibility means that we are in a position to divide. If, for example, we have been told 4 units use 20 kilos, 4 units use 20 kilos, then we can be able to tell that 2 units will use 10 or 1 unit will use 5. So the resources that we are using can be divided. Now, if we keep these assumptions that we have analyzed there, then we will be able to establish our solutions. Now, from there, we have some steps that are followed in solving linear programming problems. The steps that we normally follow in solving linear programming problems. Number one is always to identify the objective. Number one is always to identify the objective, and the objective can either be maximum or minimum. We could be seeking to maximize something, or we could be seeking to minimize something. So we need to know what is it that we want to do. Now, if we are maximizing, we use these symbols, less than or equal to, and if we are minimizing, we use these symbols, greater than or equal to. Then the other thing is to identify what we call the variables, the decision variables. Now, the variables are the items that we shall use. They are the items that we shall use. These are the products. These are the activities that will be undertaken for us to be able to achieve the objective. So I'm saying when we talk about the variables, we are talking about the products. We are talking about the items. Then number 3, we talk of the constraints. We talk of the constraints. Now the constraints, these are the items that represent scarce resources. These are the scarce resources. And for any resource to qualify to be a constraint in a program, then the maximum quantity available must be provided. The maximum quantity available must be provided in a question. From there, we go to step number 4. We go to step number 4, where we do the formulation. Now, formulation is the expression of the relationship between the objective, the variables, and the constraints using the equation, the expression of the relationship. And we have been given, if you look at the notes, you can be able to see the various issues that are given. We shall be using them in a while. The other thing is, after you have formulated, you now solve the problem. You now solve the problem. And in solving, we have 2 methods that are used. There is what we call the graphical method. That's the one we are going to start with. And then there is what we call the simplex method. And that is what we shall do in our next lesson. But after you have solved, the next thing now is usually to interpret the results. The next thing is usually to interpret the results. That is what we do. Now, when we look at the graphical method, we realize that this is used where we have only two items. It's used where we have only two products. And it involves three steps. One, you develop the coordinates for all the equations. Then you determine the appropriate scale to use. Then you plot the equations on a Cartesian plane. And after you have done that, now you interpret the graph that you have drawn. There is something that we call the isoprofit. Then there is what we call the feasible region. We shall be discussing that. There is the optimal solution. That's the area where you require, or where we have the optimal, or where we have the solutions of that question. So that is what we are supposed to do, and what exactly we shall do today. What exactly we shall do today. So want us now to get to the past papers and be able to solve the problem. Okay, so let's look for a past paper question that we can solve using the graphical method. We can solve using the graph. Yeah, so I want us to take this question of December 2022, question 7C. So we are saying we are looking at the question of December 2022, question 7C. Question 7C, which reads, Magix Limited manufactures two types of fruit juices, yellow juice and red juice. One packet of yellow juice requires 3 minutes for cutting of fruits, 6 minutes for breading, 7 minutes for cooling, and 2 minutes for packaging. One packet of red juice requires 5 minutes for cutting of fruits, 4 minutes for breading, 10 minutes for cooling, and 5 minutes for packaging. The company's workforce can only spend a maximum of 60 hours on cutting 71 and a third hours on breading, 105 hours on cooling, and 45 hours on packaging. The profit contribution is shillings 450 for each packet of yellow juice and shillings 380 for each packet of red juice. Now formulate a linear programming model for the above information. So we have said the first thing to do is to know the objective. Step number one is to know what is the objective that you are pursuing. The objective that you are pursuing. And when we are in linear programming, the objective is to maximize profits. Is to maximize profits. To maximize profits. And when we talk about profit, we know it is the revenue or it is the price minus variable costs. Minus variable costs. And when you are in decision making, we say this one is called payoff. But when you are in linear programming, this is called contribution margin. This is called contribution margin. So when we talk about the profit, we are talking about price minus variable cost, which is called contribution margin. The second step that you need to take is to identify the variables. And I have said that variables are the products. Variables are the products. So the products that we have here, we have what they are calling the yellow juice. We have what we are calling the yellow juice. And then we have what they are calling the red juice. So those are the two products that are present in this case. The next thing that you need to do is to identify the constraints. And the constraints, we have said, the constraints are the items. They are the items, the resources, whose maximum quantity have been given. And as you can see, we have cutting hours. Cutting. At this cutting, we have been given 60 hours. And these 60 hours, if you convert to say 60 times 60, you'll be able to know how many minutes these are. If you use your calc, you'll be able to say 60 times 60 is 3,600 minutes. 3,600 minutes. Those are the minutes that are available for cutting. The next one is breading. Now, breading, we have been told that we have 105 hours. 105 hours. And this 105 you say 105 times 60. 105 times 60. 105 times 60 is 6,300. 6,300 minutes. The next one after breading is sorry, actually this is that's not breading. So let's adjust here. The 105 belongs to cooling. The 105 belongs to cooling. Breading is the one that has 71 and a third hours. So if you take 71 and a third times 60, 71 in the third. Is coming to 4280. 4280 minutes. 4280 minutes. So the next one after that is packaging. Packaging. Now packaging, we have been given 45 hours. So it is 45 times 60. 45 times 60. It is 2,700 minutes. 2,700 minutes. That is what you have been given. So those are the constraints. The next thing now is to do the formulation. Now, formulation, as I've said, it is where you are connecting. It is where you are connecting the objective, the variables, and constraints. So we will say let Y to represent units of yellow juice. Let me not use Y. Let me not use Y because when we go to the graph, Y is likely to be confused. And I don't want to use so let me say, let us have D. You can use any letter. Units of yellow juice produced and sold. Produced and sold. Then I can have K to represent units of red juice produced and sold, produced and sold. Then, if we have it that way, then we will come here and say that our objective function, the objective function is to maximize Z, which is equal to, we use letter Z as a convention, which is equal to, yellow juice is giving us 450, so it is 450 B plus this other one is using 380, so it is 380 K. Now this is subject to, we now bring the constraints. When we look at yellow juice, we are told one packet of yellow juice requires 3 minutes of cutting. So this is 3D. It also requires 6 minutes of breading. So 6D. It also requires 7 minutes of cooling. So 7D. 7D. And then it requires 2 minutes of packing. So 2D. So those are the requirements for the yellow. So we say plus. We go now to the one for red juice. We are told 1 packet of red juice requires 5 minutes for cutting. So 5K, alafu 4 for breading, 4K, and then 10 for cooling, so 10K, and then 5 for packaging, so 5K. And then we start saying these ones are less than or equal to, they are less than or equal to, they are less than or equal to. So for cutting, we have 3,600. Now this is cutting. That is cutting. Then the next one is breading. Breading, you're gonna 4280. 4280, this is breading. That is breading. Then the other one is cooling, 6,300. This is cooling. And then this is less than or equal to 2,700. This is for packaging. That is for packaging. And then from there, you are supposed to say D K is greater than or equal to 0. And this one is called non-negativity. Non-negativity. So that is now what we call a formulation. That's formulation. After you have done formulation, the next thing now is to solve using the graph. So solution using the graph method. Solution using graphical method. Using graphical method. Now, when you're using the graph, there are basically several steps that you need. So the first one is to get what we call the coordinates. The first one is to get what we call the coordinates. So the coordinates are usually done like this. So we need to take these equations here. The first one, 3D plus 5K is equal to 3,600. Take it there. And then here you write D, and here you write K. And you say if D is 0, K will be what? So you take that 600 divided by 5. That gives us 720. 720. Then if K is 0, you take that 600 divided by 3. That gives us 1,200. Then you take this other one, 6D plus 4K. is equal to 4280. So this is D and this is K. So if D is 0, 4280 divided by 4 is 1070. It's 1070. And if K is 0, K is 0, 4280 divided by 6 is around 713.3. 713.3. The next one is 7D plus 10K is equals to 6,300. So if this is D and this is K, if D is 0, K will be 630. And if K is 0, 6,300 you divide by 7, you are able to get 900. And the last one is 2D plus 5K is equals to 2,700. So this is D, this is K. So 2,700 divided by 5. So that we say when D is 0, K is 540. And when K is 0, we have 2,700 divided by 2. That is 1350. That is 1350. So that tells us that we have those coordinates there. We have those coordinates there. So the next thing that we need to do is to be able to come up with a scale. Is to be able to come up with a scale here. Be able to come up with a scale. And the scale, what you do to get it, you go for the highest value. So if we look at D, the highest value is these values of D. We have 1,200, 900, 1350. So the highest is 1350 for D. And then for K, we have 750, 630, 540, and 1070. So we have 1070. So it's like these ones are more or less the same. So if they are more or less the same, then you just proceed without any modification. But if they are not the same, what we do, we seek to balance them so that our graph will be proportional. So with that, now we proceed to drawing. We proceed to drawing. We proceed to drawing. So I will come back here and seek to plot my graph. We now do the plot. That's the next thing after the scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here I will have y-axis, y-axis. So this is 200, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400. This is 0 here. This is 200, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200. It means I will have to extend my graph here. I will extend once I wrap here. So this one, you will say these are units of yellow juice. Yellow juice. These are units of yellow juice or packets of yellow juice. And you do the same here. I don't have space. So here you write that these are units or packets of red juice. Those are packets of red juice. So let me plot this so that I'm able to grab when D is 0, K is 720. So according to my graph here, this is where I have 700. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each is 20. So 720 is here. And the 1200 is here. So when I use my ruler, a very good way, I will be able to say something like this. And I come here and say this is 30B, not 30B, 3D. It is 3D plus 5K is equal to 3,600. So having brought that, I'm able now to move this so that I create a bigger space for my writing. Comfortably now create that. So I needed 1400 here so that I'm able now to say this is my x-axis. That's my x-axis. So let's plot this one. When K is 1070. So 1070. So this is 10, 20, 40, 60, so 70 somewhere here. 10D is 713. So 7 is here, so 13 is somewhere here. So I connect them using a very straight line. That way. So this is the line that is 6D plus 4K is equals to 4280. 4280. And now we come and plot this one. When D is 0, K is 630. So 30 is, this is 20. So 30 should be here, 630. And then this other one is 900. So you come and mark your 900 somewhere here. So this one. So this is the equation of 7D plus 10K is equals to 6300. 6300. The last one is when K is 540. So 5 is here, 40 is here. 540. This other one is 1350. So 1300 is here. So 40, 50 somewhere here. So I do like this. So this is the equation that is giving us 2D plus 5K is equals to 2700. Is equals to 2700. So finish to draw. When you have done that, I want us to label this. This one now is called, this one I want us to label, you call this one A on A. This one you call it on E. This one you call it on G. And this one you call it on M. Now the whole of this region is called feasible region. And why we are calling it feasible region? Why we are calling it feasible region is because we need to shade this, the unwanted area. This you shade in a very smart way. You shade in a very smart way like this. So the other part is the one we do not want. The other part is the one that we do not want. So here, as we saw in the notes, the feasible region is the solution. It is where we have combinations of the products that will satisfy our need. That will satisfy our need. But now we need to get to know the coordinates. So finish at drawing. Okay, so we need now to go down there and identify what we call the optimal solution. The optimal solution. So in the optimal solution, you are supposed to judge which corner is farthest. These corners here, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Which one is farthest from the origin? Which one is farthest from the origin? If you are able to judge, which one is farthest from the origin, or maybe before you judge, we can have an isopropyl line. Isopropyl line, although isopropyl can be a bit confusing. Let me show you how to test each corner. Let's see how to get the coordinates of the corners. So testing the corners. So testing corners. Corners of the feasible region. Of the feasible region. Testing the corners of the feasible region. Testing the corners of the feasible region. So what we are going to do is something very simple like this. So we have the corner here. And remember the labeling of the corners you do as you wish. So see your hands every time you call them. We have called them. And I'm saying that the optimal corner will be the corner that is farthest from the origin of these four. So if you can be able to inspect by checking visual inspection, then that will be fine. But if you are not very sure, you can test all of them. So we have corner A, corner E, corner G, and corner M. Then we get the coordinates. We get the coordinates of the corners. The coordinates of the corners. Now for corner A, we had the coordinates that we have developed there. This is the equation of this is the line that is here 2D 5K. So this is 2700 divided by 5. So this is the 540. While X is rather B is 2700 divided by 2. So this is 1350 versus 540. Those are the coordinates. Sorry. The coordinates of A are 0, 0, 540. When X is 0, this is 540. When I come to E, I don't know whether I'm able to exactly read this. It's appearing like this is the 320. G, the same thing. Okay. Then M is this one, the date. So it is what 28 divided by 4 is what 28 divided by 6. So 7.1. So M is 713.3 and 0. So for the others, when you are not able to read exactly, when you're not able to read or the scale is so huge, what we do, we solve the equations that make the corner simultaneously. So we solve those equations simultaneously. So the working here, workings that you are going to have, So for corner E, this corner E, it is made by this equation of 7D plus 7D plus 10K is equal to 6,300. So you take the two lines that make the corner, here 2D plus 5K. 2D plus 5K is equal to 2,700. So we know how to solve simultaneous equations. So what I will do, I will multiply here by 2 and here I multiply by 1 so that I get 7D plus 10K is equal to 6,300. Then here 4D plus 10K is equal to 5,400. 5,400. And now I subtract that. So when I subtract, this is 3D is equals to 6,300 minus 5,400 is 900. So that tells us that D should be 300. And if D is 300, I will come here and say 7 times 300 as 10K is equal to 6,300. So straight on, I can be able to get K straight on. I will say 6,300 minus 7 times 300 divided by 10 is 420. So the coordinates will be 300 and 420. 300 and 420. So you see my line here was not giving me the correct answer on my scale. And let's do the same for G. Let us do the same for G. We do the same for G. We do the same for G. Maybe I can write up here for G. When I come to G, I look at the lines that make on a G. It is this line of 6D plus 4K. 6D plus 4K is equal to 4280. The other line imepitia hapo ni hii tena ya 7D plus 10K. 7D plus 10K is equal to 6,300. 6,300. So in trying to solve that, so here I multiplied by 1 and 2 so that this could be equal. Now here, because they are not, so here I can multiply by 10 and here I multiply by 4. I can multiply by 10 and 4. So this will be 60B plus 40K will be 42,800. This is 28B plus 40K is equal to 6,300 times 4 is 25,200. 25,200. So when you subtract, you say 60 minus 28 is that 2D. That 2D is equals to 42,800. You subtract 25,200. That gives us 17,600. 17,600. So if you divide by that 2, you divide that answer by that 2, you are able to get 550. 550. So I come here and say 60 times 550 plus 40K is equals to 42,800. And from there, I should be able to get my K by saying 42,800 minus 60 times 550 equals, then I divide by 40. That is giving me 245. So the coordinates will be 550 and 245. So with that, now we seek to know the maximum the profit, or we get the contribution. We get the contribution. So there is the equation that we had formed. I hope you can remember the equation that we formed earlier, which was saying the objective function, which was 450D. So it is going to be 450 times 0 plus 380K. So 380 times 540. So here it is 450 times 300 plus 380 times 420. I have 450 times 550 plus 380 times 245. I have 450 times 713.3 plus 380 times 0. So we want to know the profit that each one of them will generate. We want to know the profit that each one of them will give us so that we are able to know who is best. So that we are able to know who is best. So if we seek help from our calculators, I'll be able to say 450 times 0 plus 380 times 540 is 205, 200. 205, 200. 205, 200. Then 450 times 300 plus 380 times 420 is 294, 600. Then 450 times 550 plus 380 times 245 is 340, 600. Then 450 times 713.3 is 320. 985. So once you have those values there, once you get those values, you pick the highest. So the highest is this one. The highest is that one. So that's the one that we are going to pick. And when we pick that, when we pick that one as the highest, when you pick that as the highest, you are able now to give us the solution. The optimal solution. Now, the optimal solution, you should give us two things. One, you should tell us production. Now, production, we will say yellow juice, which was represented by B, it is going to be 550 units. And then red juice, which was represented by K, we are going to do 245 units. Because this is the optimal corner, the one that has given us maximum profits. The next thing that you need to tell us is the contribution. The contribution. So the contribution, we need to know the maximum. The maximum, we already have it there. It is shillings, Kenya shillings, 340, 600. So that is what we shall get when we produce those units. So that is what the candidate was supposed to do. Yeah, so that is what the candidate was supposed to do. I can see they're asking about the slack or the surplus. We can still answer. You can still answer, although these ones are not on a part of the syllabus. I don't know why they keep on bringing them. They keep on bringing them. So this is part of what we call sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. Now, when we call, when we talk of the slack or the variable, we start with the available quantity minus quantity used. Quantity used at optimality. Quantity used at optimality. Quantity used at optimality. Now this one will be slack if it is positive or surplus if it is negative. the available quantity minus the used at optimality. If the answer is positive, that is called slack. If it is negative, it is called surplus. It's called surplus. So if we start with the question has said, we get the slack or for the cutting. So for cutting, you come at cutting. You look at cutting. Cutting ndio ilikuwa na 3,600. 3,600. Not 3,000. It's 6,300. This one. It is 6,300. That is the available quantity. You minus the quantity used at optimality. The quantity used at optimality is you take this equation 7D, so it is 7, and D tumesema we are producing 550, so you multiply by 550 plus 10K. K tumesema we are producing 245. And when you put those figures in the calc, you say 6,300 minus into brackets 7 times 550 plus 10 times 245, it is 0. So if it is 0, that means the resource is binding. That's the meaning. Binding means it has been fully utilized. Hakuna kitu imebaki. Everything has been used. Let's compute something else like this one that had 1 with 3. I think I've taken this one, 7D and 10D. 7 is cooling. Oh, sorry, this is not cutting. This is cooling. Got confused. That is cooling. This was for cooling. At least for you, you are able to follow because you already have remote. Mine, they are confusing kidogo. So cutting is this one that are 3D. 3D. So let's compute for cutting. Let's compute for cutting. Cutting, it is this one, 3,600. That is the available. You minus, the equation is 3D. So it is 3 times 550 plus 5K. 5 times 245. 5 times 245. So that becomes that 600 minus 3 times 550 minus 2 times, not 2, 5 times 245. And that gives us 725. Now this is the slack, and this is the unused. Unused. You can see it's positive. It's the unused. So you can do the same with the others. You can do the same with the breading and packaging. Okay. Let's attempt another question. Even if we may not finish because of the interest of time. So this is the question that was tested in April 2022. So April 2022, question 6A. April 2022, question 6A. So the question says that I write 4 requirements that must be met before the linear programming model can be applied. So those requirements are the assumptions. And we already have discussed the assumptions, so you can refer your notes. Number 2, a company makes 2 products, A and B. Each product requires time on 2 machines, A and B. The specifications for each product are as follows. So we are given all that. Formulate a linear program to determine. So the first thing is to know the objective. The objective, anytime you see there is the price, selling price, and the cost, the objective is always to maximize the profit. So it's to maximize profit. And I have told you profit, is the price minus variable cost, and this is the one we call contribution. Is the one we call contribution. The one we call contribution. So after that, you need to bring the variables. And variables, I have told you, they are the products. So you can see here, we have product 1, and we have product 2. Those are the variables. Then you bring the constraints. Now, constraints, they are resources whose maximum available quantity have been provided. And if you look at the last line there, you can see machine A hours. Machine A, we are given that it has 80 hours. It has 80 hours. And machine B, we are told it has 100 hours. It has 100 hours. So those are the only constraints. So with that, you now make the formulation. You make the formulation. And I've told you in the formulation what to do. You simply say, let, I want to use X. Let X represent units of product 1 produced and sold. Produced and sold. Units of product 1 produced and sold. Y to represent units of product 2 produced and sold. Produced and sold. Then the other question we have solved, we had already been given the contribution margins. So this one we have to solve on our own. So we will talk of the product here, then contribution. Product and the contribution. You will first of all have to compute. So if we start with product 1, which is being represented by X, then we shall come here to product 2, which is being represented by Y. Going by this formula, we need the price. The selling price for A is 22, or for X is 22, and this other one is 48. Then we minus the variable costs. The variable costs, we can start with the material cost, which you can see is 14 for 1, na hii given is 37. The others are just hours, so we are not given the cost, so we just say equals. This is if you say 22 minus 14 is 8. 48 minus 37 is 11. Those are the contribution margins. Okay, and I can see the maximum production and sales. So those ones are also part of constraints. So let's come here. We go back here. Production and sales. For product 1, it is 30. Product 2, it is 50. Yeah, those are also part of constraints. They are part of constraints. So having said that, we now proceed and now bring the objective function. The objective function. The other question did not require us to compute this. They had already given us. That's where it's computed. So the objective function is now to say maximize Z, which is going to be 8x plus 11y. 8x plus 11y. Subject to, if we look at machine A, we have 1.6. So 1.6x plus 1y is less than or equal to the machine there, they are 80. Then we come to this other one, which is 2.5x plus 1y is less than or equal to 100. Then this one, x should be less than or equal to 30. And y should be less than or equal to 50. Those are the constraints for the production. So, and then you come and say x, y is greater than or equal to 0. X, y is greater than or equal to 0. It's greater than or equal to 0. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, The next thing now is you can just go straight to get the coordinates. You can go straight because we know we are using the graph. So the coordinates, we just require these two methods or these two equations. These two equations. So if you take 1.6x plus 1y equal to 80, here you have x and here you have y, then 2.5x plus 1y is equal to 100. This is x and this is y. So we just do like we have done with the other one. So you come here and say, if x is 0 here, y will be 80. If x is 0 here, y will be 80. And if we make y 0, then you take 80, you divide by 1.6. And that gives us 50. Similarly, if you make x 0 here, y will be 100. And if you make y 0, y will be 100 divided by 2.5, which is 40. Which is 40. So when you which is 40. Then I told you from there you look at the scale. You can see x, the highest is 15, and y, the highest is 100. The highest is 100. Okay. So it means the difference between so we brought our graph. Okay, so this is y-axis. Why do you call kubwa? So I can say this is 20, this is 40, this is 60, this is 80, and this is 100. And these are units of product 2. Then this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This is x-axis. X-axis. So these are units of product 1. Those are units of product 1. Okay. So we brought, when x is 0 here, y is 80. Yeah. And when y is 0, This one is 50. So this is the equation of 1.6x plus 1y is equals to 8. Then this other one is 100 here and 40. So 140. So this is 2.5x plus 1y is equal to 100. Then x is 30. So when I'm told x is 30, I will come and draw here. X is 30 there. Y is 50. So 50 here. So y is 50. So with that, I will shade here this way. The upper side is what we shade this way. The upper side, here we are shading the upper side that way. And when we do that, this becomes corner. When you are recording, you don't use initials that are already in use. So we already have AB being used here. This one I can call it corner C. This one I call it corner D. This one I can call it corner E. This one I call it corner F. And this one I call it corner G. So that this is my feasible region. Feasible region. That's my feasible region. So with that, you now seek to test the corners. You now seek to test the corners. So testing the corners so that you know which one is farthest, whether it is this D, E, or F. So I have the corner here. I have coordinates. And I have contribution. I have contribution. So if I start with corner C, I know very well when y is 0, it is 50. When x is 0, y is 50. So my contribution will be x, the objective function, x was 8 and the other one was 11. So it will be 8 times 0 plus 11 times 50. And that will give me 550. So that is the contribution I get at corner C. Contribution I get at corner C. When I go to corner D, let me see whether now corner D I'm not able to. Corner D, we need to solve corner D. Now corner D, in solving it, down there as part of our workings, it is made by this line 1.6x plus 1y is equal to 80, and then y is equal to 50. So if y is equal to 50, ikiweka hapa, I would say then x should be 80 minus 50, I divide by 1.6. That's how I should get my x. I'm getting 18.75. So here x is 18.75 versus 50. So then I would say 8 times 18.75 plus 11 times 50. So times 8 plus 11 times 50 is 700. So this one is giving me a profit of 700. Profit of 700. I go to corner E. Corner E, don't know whether it's possible to measure, but according to my scale, it is not. So I'll need to solve simultaneously, quickly. You can see I have 1 minute. So it is made up of these two lines, 1.6x plus 1y is equals to 80. Actually, when I'm using eliminate and substitution method, I can be able to say y is equal to 80 minus 1.6x. That way, then kuja nichukue hii ingine, which is 2.5x. 2.5x plus y is equals to 100. So if I say 2.5x plus 80 minus 1.6x is equal to 100, hope we are following that method. I will be able to come here and say this is 0.9x is equal to 20. So x should be 20 divided by 0.9 is 22.2. Therefore, y should be 80 minus 1.6 times 22.2. So 80, getting 44.4. So this will be 22.2 and 44.4. So 8 times 22.2 plus 11 times 44.4. 8 times 22.2 plus 11 times 44.4 is 666. That is the profit. 666. Then I go to corner F. Corner F, when I seek to solve corner F. But if you had drawn to scale, a good graph, you simply read from there. So this one is being made by right in the total a 2.5x plus 1y equal to 100. And then it is made by x being equal to 30. So that means y should be equal to 100 minus 2.5 times 30. So you put that, you say 100 minus 2.5 times 30 is 25. So ukileta hapa, you tell us this is 30 and this is 25, then this will be 8 times 30 plus 11 times 25. So 8, that is times 11 plus 8 times 30 is 515. 515, and finally I have G. Now G, X is 30 and Y is 0, so it is 8 times 30 plus 11 times 0, which is 240. So with that now, I have all my corners. I have all my corners, and we are saying once you have the corners, you pick the one with the highest profit, this one. So that tells us now our optimal solution. Our optimal solution, I've told you you should tell us two things. One is production. One is production. So for production, we had product 1, which was represented by X. So if it was represented by X, then this is 18.75 units. And product 2, which was represented by Y, it is 50 units. Then you tell us here, profit maximum, it is Kenya shillings 700. Is Kenya shillings 700. So that is what was required to do that. So we stop at that point, pick up from there to do simplex method. Thank you.